Hi YouTube, it is dusk. I'm here with the darkness cards I've yet to cover for Dragonstrike Infernus. Got 9 of them here for you today, starting with an evolution in Ancient Graveworm. A level 4 Rotworm evolution with Double Breaker, Slayer, and 6,000 power. Needless to say, this looks a lot like the Graveworm Hatchling card, and as such, I'm pretty sure it is in fact directly evolved from that in the show and will appear in such during Season 2. It's uncommon, and while it does Rotworms nowhere near the justice that the original game did them, it's a start, I suppose. Next, Bone Rattle Dragon, a level 6 Terra Dragon with Double Breaker and 6,000 power. And its ability Soul Shivers brings me very close to a mill deck, which I would love to build, because I honestly believe this game was made for people who like mill decks. What Soul Shivers does is whenever this creature attacks, oh, the fun I'm going to have with that, you choose a player. And then that player takes the top 2 cards of his or her deck and puts it into the discard pile. That's going to stack with so many other darkness cards that have come out, will come out, and a couple water cards. I mean, just give it a couple more effects like this, and I'm going to have one heck of a deck ready for you guys. Moving on to a spell and a shield blast at that, Devouring Smog. A level 6 shield blast that lets your opponent choose one of his or her untapped creatures in the battle zone, and then you get to banish that creature. I'm not really liking this spell. I mean, it's not only is it a more expensive version of Death Smoke, which started losing playability the moment Evos came out in the first place, but your opponent gets to choose the creature, which kind of hurts you a bit. And even if it goes off before turn 5 as a shield blast, your opponent would have had to start tapping creatures to set it off, and then you'll have less targets to use it with. I see this as really, really situational. I could be wrong, though. Moving on to Drooling Worm, which brings us more Evo bait for, well, not necessarily Evo bait since it's more expensive, but definitely more Rotworm support. He's a level 5 Rotworm with 3,000 power. His ability is Putrid Spit. When this creature enters the battle zone, each player chooses and discards a card. Now, needless to say, your best bet of using this card, which is probably why it's level 5 to restrict you from using it until said point, is when it is the last card in your hand. That way you have nothing to lose, whereas your opponent is down a card. Semi-situational, but if you like building up on discard effects, this is a good card for you. Another new spell, Gloom Tomb. Level 3, you put the top 3 cards of your deck into your discard pile. That right there, I don't like, but it does employ the mentality of darkness, so, What it does do, however, is build up a chance to have a better shot of this next part of the effect, where you return a creature from your discard pile to your hand. So, it can be used to either A, reclaim a creature that you've already lost, or B, try to search out a creature that you don't have in your hand or discard pile already, and if you would have drawn it in a couple turns, bam, you just sped up the process of getting it into your hand. We got a new Brainjacker in Grudge Weaver. A level 2 Brainjacker, just like Skeeter Swarmer was. It has blocker and guard just like Skeeter Swarmer, but 1,000 power. So it's not going to likely take a lower level creature with it like Skeeter Swarmer does, but instead Whenever this creature is banished, your opponent chooses and discards a card. So, while Skeeter Swarmer can help balance the battle zone a bit, what this card does is help balance the late game by trying to get rid of some of your opponent's big cards early when they're not really useful, in hopes that they do not come out later when they would have really messed you up. We have a new Chimera in Patchwork Surgeon. Level 5 with 2000 power. His ability is Restitch. When this creature enters the battle zone, choose a creature in discard pile and return to your hand. I see the merit of having that ability with a body, but level 5, I'd have preferred it level 4 at least. Probably no less than 4, but level 4 would have been much more comfortable to me with this. That's all I gotta say on this guy before we move on to Ripper Reaper. A level 5 Shadow Champion with 4000 power. And he looks really cool, by the way. His effect is Cursed Scythe. When this creature enters the battle zone, you may choose one of your other creatures in the battle zone and banish it. By this point, you guys already know what I'm thinking about that ability. If you do, your opponent chooses one of his or her creatures in the battle zone and banish that creature. So, at level 5, this could be a blessing in disguise, because, now, while I'm about to say it's highly situational, if your opponent doesn't have many creatures at all, and it's already level 5, if you still have a couple small creatures that aren't going to be doing much to contribute anymore in the game, okay, no problem, it's gone. But now your opponent has to get rid of one of their small number of creatures that would have helped, and then, well, you guys can see where that's going. The last card I've got to show you guys for Darkness from Dragonstrike Infernus is Toothed Grumbling, a level 3 3000 vanilla Rotworm. How the mighty have fallen. In the old game, this creature used to be a shield blast, or shield trigger as it was called back then, where if it was a broken shield, you could summon it straight off the bat. And I believe it had another ability, but the fact remains, I miss seeing the shield blast factor on this picture. That's all I got for you guys with Darkness. I will be recording my Fire video soon. See you then.